9, 8, 7. We have a go for main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
SFL night, let's go. Midnight glow, it's time to rise. SFL nights on the starry skies. AJ Striker, feel her heat. The sultry voice, so silky sweet. Whispers in the air, lights down low. Bubbly charm, let the stories flow. In the league where dreams unite. Ashley's got you, hold on tight. Under her lights, SFL players shine bright. AJ's putting you in the spotlight. From the field to the mic, Ashley's in the know. SFL nights, get in the down low. Yeah, in the game, she's making plays. Arizona's queen bee leading the way. A community ambassador off the field, laying on hands, see it all get healed. From the huddle to the show, Ashley's got that infectious glow. Interviews that make you sway. In her presence, you wanna stay. SFL players shine bright. AJ's here for you with a spotlight. From the field to the mic, Ashley's in the know. SFL nights, get in the down low. SFL night, let's go. Midnight glow, hey, SFL night, let's go. Midnight glow. From the huddle to the show, down low. Ashley's got that infectious glow. Interviews that make you sway. In the presence, you under her lights. SFL players shine bright. AJ's here putting you in the spotlight. From the field to the mic, Ashley's in the know. SFL nights, getting in the down low. SFL players shine bright. AJ's here putting you in the spotlight. From the field to the mic, Ashley's in the know. SFL nights, getting in the down low. Take turns tonight. Let's go. Turn down those lights. It's Ashley's turn to make you feel so right. Under her lights. As the conversation is about today tonight. It's always SFL nights. Under her lights. Let's go.
What is up? What is up? What is up, SFL Nation? And welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decide to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really appreciate it, y'all. And we are back with another great show. I'm really excited for my guest that I have on this evening. I have Mr. Jermaine Smith, aka Lord Destro, known all around the SFL community. I'm so excited to have him on because we have a lot of new people in the league, and I would love for the new people to get to know him because he's been such a cornerstone of the league for a long time, you know. So I'm going to get into that. Of course, they are undefeated. DC Dragons are undefeated, so we're going to get into that too. But before we get into all of that, I'm going to quickly do my Week 5 review for SFL. I'm going to be doing my picks for Week 6. And then I'm going to be doing some SFLM review. I got a chance to watch a couple of the games. I actually had somebody slated to be on the show to kind of help me out with that segment. But unfortunately, they had to cancel. So I had to ride solo on this. So I'm going to do the best I can to kind of give y'all an overview. But I am going to pick some players of the game for the SFLM because I do want you guys to get your acknowledgments. I mean, hey, you're paying your money to progress. So I want you to get acknowledgments for your progression dollars being at work. All right. So let's head on to picks for Week 5. So these are my original picks. Of course, everything I do is usually in gold with my thumbs up. And these are the results. For all my radio listeners out there, on August the 8th, if you did not get a chance to check out these great games, go to simfl.net where you can get scores, actual links to the game, and much more information. So Week 5 review goes as follows. Minnesota wins over the Florida Storm 20-14. I was a little bit surprised about that, especially since Florida was at home, but hey, any given sim day, right? DC wins over Queen City 23-20. I was actually right about that game. Wrong about the first one, right about this one. Another game I was right about was the Pittsburgh Riverhogs beating the Charleston Predators 24-10. Lexington took on Detroit. Detroit wins 24-3. I was right about that one. Then I got on a roll with the nose. So I chose Denver Night Wings to win over the Carolina Skyhawks, but that was not the case as Carolina went on to win 23-20. Great game to watch if you did not get a chance to go check that one out. Bossier City Steamers went down in Chicago and lost 27-20. Sin City wins over the Washington Trident, who has been trying to get their game plans and stuff together. They've been kind of struggling over there this season, but I'm sure they'll right that ship. But Sin City wins 14-8. Los Angeles Vikings took on the Vancouver Legion, where Vancouver wins 34-10. Lastly, the Houston Headhunters battled the Albuquerque Adams. I chose Albuquerque to win, but Houston came out. Great game, very close. Great defensive game on that one, 20-19. So now my picks for the season. So some of y'all got mad at me. So y'all didn't want me to start winning. Y'all didn't want me to continue on my dominance, right? So I only got 4 right for week 5, 5 wrong. So that means I'm 20 right and 13 wrong on the season. And for those that are keeping track, I know that's a little bit off, but I did not include week 1 games because I didn't choose. So it's not fair for me to make that call. Now we're moving on to week 6. Come on, week 6. Come on. There we go. All right, so just as a mental note, there will be no games on Monday night, so no Monday Night Spectacular and no PGI, unfortunately, but I'll come back to you next week. On August the 16th, though, Saturday and Sunday games will be taking place. Starting 6:30 p.m. Eastern, the 3-1 Arizona Scorpions will be taking on the 3-1 Houston Headhunters. Both teams have won their last games. Houston won by a very small margin this time. Arizona has to be careful with the ball. If Arizona can be careful with the ball, I definitely see us. I'm going to choose Arizona anyway, but we have to just take care of the ball and make sure our defense comes to play because these two coaches with Damon and Eddie have been on the same team before, so they kind of know what they like to do. So it's going to be interesting, the chess match that happens between those two. At 6:45 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, August the 16th, the 2-2 Charleston Predators will be taking on the 4-0 DC Dragons. And of course, I have to roll with DC, not just because Lord Destro is on the show tonight, but just because they have given me absolutely zero reason not to go with them. They are the dominant team, one of the dominant teams at this moment. So rolling with DC. Charleston still has a lot to prove. Just not sure if it's going to be this week, though. 2-2 Florida Storm will be taking on the Lexington Miners that are also 2-2. Strange to see Florida at the 2-2, but everybody has their growing pains. And that game will be at 9:00. I am still rolling with Florida on this one. I just think the coaches have, coaching experience is going to outweigh. But who knows? You never know what happens. This is a home game for Lexington, so home field advantage could take effect, but we'll see. 9:15 p.m. Eastern, the 2-2 Chicago Warriors will be taking on the 3-1 Detroit Maulers. Going to be a fantastic game. I'm going to go with Detroit on this one. They are 3-1. I think that they are one of those teams that will sneak in on you, and they will be in the playoffs. If they keep playing the way that they have been, they're definitely going to be in playoff contention. Now, how deep they go, not quite sure, but they'll definitely make it there. Moving on to August the 17th, which is Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 2-2 Albuquerque Adams will be taking on the 1-2 Baltimore Vultures. Now, that is very, very weird to say that Baltimore is 1-2 right now, but I digress. I'm going with who did I choose? I'm going with Baltimore on this one. It is a home game for Baltimore, and Baltimore typically does well at home. Albuquerque is a great team, so Baltimore will have to be on their P's and Q's to be able to win this game. Otherwise, Albuquerque is going to take it. But I'm going to give Baltimore maybe a touchdown, maybe a field goal. Very low scoring game, that one. 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 2-1 Mexico City Aztecs will be taking on the Bossier City Steamers, sitting at 1-3. Bossier City is looking to collect their second win. I don't think it's going to be against Mexico City, though, so I'm going with Mexico on that one. It will be an away game for Mexico, so we'll see how they fare. 9:00 p.m. Eastern on August 17th, the 1-3 Washington Trident will be taking on the 1-2 Fort Worth Toros. Fort Worth Toros have won their last game in a big way. I think they pretty much figured out what they needed to do to make those changes, and I'm going to actually choose them to win this game. Lastly, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, the 1-2 OKC Renegades will be taking on the 2-2 Pittsburgh Riverhawks. Going with the Riverhawks, love how they won last week. Just not sure if OKC has all the pieces, even though I love King Jackson over there. I love you, man. Get it together, and I'll give you, the nod. But I just think Pittsburgh, they got the edge, man. I hope you can forgive me. Please forgive me. All right, now. We're moving on to SFL chat around the water cooler where we are talking about week 2 in SFLM action. Got to give the rookies some love. Got to give them some shine. So the San Diego Aces took on the Philadelphia Cougars, and Philly wins in a big way, 45-34. I'm a little bit about that game. San Diego, everybody was scoring, everybody was doing a great job until the fourth quarter, where Philly just scored 17 on them. San Diego only scored 7 in that particular quarter. So, I mean, they had you by 2 scores, man. There's nothing they can do. They couldn't come back. So, congratulations to Philly for eking that one out. Shout outs. These are my player shout outs. Now, I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. I'm not just going to talk about the winners. I'm going to include some of the teams that lost, some of their players as well, because just because they lost the game, they still padded their stats in a good way. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. All right. And forgive me up front if I get your name wrong. Please DM me, or you can come in the chat and let me know the specifics on how to pronounce it, because some of y'all have some interesting names. Just want to make sure I get them right. All right. So for Philly, quarterback Mike Simonak, if that's not it, bro, I'm so sorry. But his quarterback rating was 123.2, 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So you clean up those interceptions, man, you'll be doing good. But hey, 5 TDs, I'll take those all day. Running back Jesse Fitz had 17 attempts, 90 yards. Longest yard was 14 and 1 touchdown. Wide receiver for Philly, Ladam McBrowski, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. Great job. I'm going to give San Diego some love too. So Seth Berlin, 6 tackles, pick 6, 73 yards. Go ahead, man. All right, man. Andre Brown, interception with 4 tackles. Moving on to the Birmingham San Jose game. San Jose just been, they do their thing, man. It's really hard. Even if I was picking in these games, it'd be really hard for me to go against San Jose, because they always seem to have the perfect formula to win. And they do, 38-31. Now, this game, low scoring in the first half, did get up to 10-17, but Birmingham had a chance. I mean, third quarter, they scored 21 points, but they scored nothing in the fourth quarter to keep that lead. So 38-31, San Jose. Shout out to quarterback Brady White, 124.7 QBR. He went 18 for 26, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a clean game. No interceptions. That's what I like to see, man. That's what's needed, I'm telling you. Running back Rashawn Williams for San Jose, 28 attempts, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Birmingham, Lenore West, 2 touchdowns. Looks like Robert Minnick, 2 touchdowns for Birmingham as well. Wide receiver Jamar Shelton, 5 receptions, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Birmingham's Marquise Sango, 5 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. Shout out to San Jose's defenders. Actually, first, Birmingham, Saeed Gore, great job. 9 tackles, 3 assists, highest all game. Now, shout out to San Jose's Ramner Sudi for 1 sack, as well as David Wolf, also a sack. And kicker, Ellie Aldemir. I'm just going to say, girl, we're going to have to talk about that first night. We're going to have to talk about that. But Ellie Aldemir went 3 for 3, 36 yards. And I'm saying that I'm celebrating this kicker because lately field goal kicking has been a thing. people have been missing 1, 2 in a game, and sometimes in the first half. And that's kind of unusual. But she made all 3 of hers that she attempted, so kudos to you, lady. All right. Lastly, the Anchorage took on New York. Great game to watch. Anchorage wins 17-10. In this game, New York had trouble scoring in the first, third, and fourth quarters as they put up no points. The only points they did have was a 10 that they scored in the second half, and that's all they were able to get. But I did, and I'm hoping that I have this right, and if I got this wrong, please let me know. I'll be happy to change it, and I'll be happy to apologize. But I want to say New York actually had their kicker running a back kick returns. Now, I don't know if that was by design. I don't know if someone got hurt and then the kicker was subbed in, but I did admire how he got about 30 to 40 yards when he did it. I'm not saying my kicker going to do that for Arizona, but I'm just saying that was an awesome play if that was designed that way. At least it worked out. Kind of. But shout out to Michael Pajak. I know I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry, honey. Charles, let me know what that is. 123.4 QBR, 17 for 25, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. You better go ahead, Michael. Running back for New York, Dominique Kane, 19 attempts, 108 yards, 28 long, 1 touchdown. For Anchorage, Joey Hightower, wide receiver, 3 receptions, 34 yards, 2 touchdowns. On to the defense, we have New York, Mike Albert, 15 tackles. Okay, honey, he was all over the field, weren't you? 15 tackles, 3 assists. And for Anchorage, Bobby Green, 9 tackles, 1 assist, and 1 interception. So those are my shout outs for this week, for week 2. Rookies, y'all keep progressing, keep listening to your coaches and owners as they are trying to prep you to be hopefully a Hall of Fame player like this next guest that I'm going to be bringing up. Although he went in for a different reason still, your goal is to be in the Hall of Fame. Your goal is to be in those all-star games and to start breaking those records, So build accordingly and it will come. I am going to take a couple minute break and I'll bring Jermaine right up. See y'all in a bit.
I'm off on the adventure. We're good. This is dedicated to all the kids like me. Wherever you are, here, now, we're good. Birds sing flying around. You never see them too long on the ground. You wanna be one of them. Hear the
All right, we're back. We are back. A little bit of Kid Cudi, Mr. Rager. And I have my good friend, Mr. Jermaine Smith, aka Lord Destro, in the building. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's always good having you on, man. And
Good
look,
stuff. Appreciate the invite.
and it take you a whole like 5 years to come back, huh?
Oh, see, you're gonna go there already, huh? You don't waste time, do you?
No, you know I don't.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to being with me today. You are 4-0, so I know that you're a busy man. You know, you're always running sims and making sure that the team has what they need. But I want to start off first by asking you. So, you're known as Jermaine Lord Destro Smith in the SFL community. So, can you share how that nickname Lord Destro became to be, and what does it represent to you personally?
Well, names, it's like most names aren't. They're not. You don't come up with them. Someone gives them to you. What happened was, and I told the story some people at SFL convention. What happened was, I used to be a manager at Bob Evans back in like 20 years, almost nearly 20 years. Actually, yeah, 20 years ago. And it was one sweaty. It was a hot summer day, and I just went clean shaven. And then, of course, when you shave your head and you come out of a hot shower, sometimes you're still sweating from that shower. So I'm on my way to work. It's hot outside, and I'm just drenched in sweat. I walked into the restaurant, and all of a sudden, the cooks there were like, "Hey, look at your man, oh shiny head sucker, looking like Destro." And I was like, and I knew where they got it from, the shiny dude from G.I. Joe. So I knew where. I was okay. Well, I was like, you know what? I like that name. I'm gonna keep it. So then I was 2005 when I joined Xbox Live. I was like, what alias you come up with? And then it was like Destro. So then my employees were calling me Destro, and I just accepted it ever since. So that's where it came from.
Okay. So that Lord part, where did Lord Destro come from?
Oh, that's like kind of like, I don't know, Star Wars / Lord of the Rings fandom.
Yeah.
Because on Xbox, I'm called Dark Lord Destro. So it was like, like Dark Lord Sauron or Dark Lord of the Sith. It's kind of like it goes hand in hand,
I kind of figured it was something like that too. Because when I first met you, when I first saw your name, I was like, oh, okay. So what we doing? Revenge of the Sith? What we doing?
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So you've risen to challenges, like for instance, being the SFL. I think it was SFL president. No, was it president?
Well, I started out as actually, if you go way back to season 3, if you want to go that far, I started out as the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Stars. And that was Coach Mr. Ronnie Nickens. He owned the team, and so it all started. And sorry, I can be long-winded at times, but I'll do the best I can to short it up. But basically, TJ, who owns the Baltimore Vultures, he came to me back in season 3 because I was already part of his player versus player league. He said, "Hey man, we got this league going on, and you can put in codes." And I was like, "Okay." First, I wasn't really feeling it. I was like, "Okay, I'll give it a chance," because TJ asked me. So I went in and I did season 3, and I started as offensive coordinator. Then I stepped back because I just wasn't feeling the fact that I could not have control. I am somewhat of a control freak,
Okay,
by nature. And so it was just hard for me to get adjusted to the fact that I can't have the computer do what I wanted to do. And it frustrated. It irritates me now sometimes. I watch these films. I'm like, just do what I want you to do and do that. But that's probably everybody. But anyhow, so then what happened was I got out season 4, and then I heard there's gonna be some new teams coming. We're putting a new bid for new teams, and I'm like, man, I gotta put my bid in now. I had a concept. I had the team colors, DC Dragons. I took the colors from the old Washington Wizards uniforms.
yeah.
I came up with a whole little story. I had a little video, a little montage video. I used Enter the Dragon theme music for it, and I applied for the bid. And then I was one of the 4 lucky teams to get a season 5. So that's where I started. And then, of course, everybody knows season 5, and it's not my words, the greatest SFL championship game of all time. Once again, I didn't say that. Other people voted that, so make that perfectly clear. And so I did that for 3 seasons, and then Gave me some help on his end, on the back end, to run the league. And he said, "You interested stepping down?" I said, "Yeah, I knew it was a time because I was occupied with my work at the time. I was okay. I need someone. It's best for someone who can dedicate more time to this than me, and it'd be unfair for me to hog up the time. So I'll step aside and help Cam on the back end." And he gave me the term the label team president. Okay, if you want to go there, that's fine. I'll take it. I ain't gonna say no. And so I did that from season 8 all the way up to season 15, and then put the bid in again. And here we are, season 16 on. We're back.
So, coach, owner, SFL president at one time, contributor. What inspired you to take on all of those positions? Did you love the SFL that much?
Well, yeah. Well, I love the league, but also it was an extension of the game, APF. I love that game. I won it many nights way before the league was in existence. Back in 2000 and 2010, I heard about it was a way to get into the game and finagle some things, and so I was always trying to replicate the NFL because I was always bothered by the fact they had generic teams, and I wanted to make I wanted to custom create rosters like 91 Redskins, 85 Bears, 72 Dolphins, things like that. And I wanted to utilize I wanted to squeeze as much blood out of Rock as possible. And so there was a guy or a couple of Brozels, I remember his name. He went in and he posted some things in operatorsports.com about how you can go into hex code and change some things. And I was okay. Then from that point, I would just go on the numbers and I had no training, no training whatsoever in how to learn hex. But one thing I've always been good at is looking at certain things and kind of deciphering it and figuring things out on my own. And so with that, and also with the information I had on operatorsports.com, I was able to find things on my own and then start making these custom rosters. And then from that point, King Havo, he's found my notes that I was putting in on the websites, and with my help and some other people's help, he was able to come up with the editor. And that was around that same time when Cam was coming up, and when we heard about him, it was season 3. So it all came in around that same time, and then that's when we made in season 6. We decided to switch up and have the SFL utilize the editor so we can have more players on the team. Because back then we were limited. We only had 10 players on each side plus one legend. You remember that? One legend player, and we were limited. And so, of course, I was all myself. I know TJ, I know T-Pat. We were always in Cam's ear saying, "We can expand this. We have the ability now. We can do it. That's what we can put in the work. Just tell him what he needs to do, and he'll do it." And we was able to get more teams. Then we went from 10 to 12 or 15, if I remember. And then we kept on expanding. And then I can't remember what season it was to where we started having actual real life players instead of created players. Because a lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, you had to create your own players and you had to have it come a little bio, your storyline. And, there was guys like.
You mean season 3?
I'm sorry?
You mean season 3? That's when, I think season 3 was when real players were introduced into the league, right?
I think there wasn't players named after them, but actual users, like every 100%. That was later on. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's been a long time, but I remember season 5, I had created players. I had guys who, my quarterback, Zach Zulli, he was an actual quarterback who won the Harlan Hill Trophy for Shippensburg University. I had my middle linebacker, Leroy Ambush. He went to a local high school, my Bravo High School in my hometown. Then he went on to play for University of Maryland. And so, and I had the late great Richard Snowden. He was a friend of mine at high school, who later on unfortunately passed on. And so I had made up players, and also I think same with TJ. We were using like real people, but we put their names on the players. But there wasn't like it is now, to where we have people that are actually behind it, and there's some behind the avatar.
Man. It's crazy, because I was just going to ask you, like, over your tenure here, I want to know, how has the SFL leadership changed for you? So how has the league evolved, basically? So that could be leadership from the leadership aspect to gameplay to community engagement, because you've been around for a very long time to be able to see all of those different changes.
Well, yes. I mean, this I was just stating a minute ago is the fact that we went
Mhm.
from just created players to players that have users behind them. And then, of course, it went from being free to now we got to pay for this stuff, but it's all good. I mean, that's one
Remember
aspect.
bits?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Y'all did those bets, I didn't. But yeah, but it was but community got larger. You know, back then it was a more close knit community. I remember there was a game between the Maulers and the Wolfpack. It was only 9 players. I used to have those or 9 viewers. And for the longest time, I had those 9 viewers memorized. That's how bad the league was. You know, and well, I'll take that back. It wasn't. It wasn't the league was bad. It was that particular game.
Which is
And it
small,
was
right?
it was a situation between the injuries. See, back then injuries didn't last just for a week only. Back then, this injuries last for how long it was. So let's say a player got hurt 15 weeks, he's done for the season. He get hurt for 2 weeks, he's done for 2 weeks. Imagine that
Yes.
right now. You pay someone pay their money and they done for the season. What?
Well, you gonna have so many
Cam,
people mad at you?
somebody going to
Absolutely
Cam's
not.
body. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's
You
why
gotta
I
pay
know
this
we don't.
many
I know.
dollars a month.
Yeah, I know some don't like injuries now. I'm one of them, but back then, boy, your dude got hurt. That was a wrap. I remember TJ's running back got hurt. Shoot, TJ was he threw up he's like, peace out, I'm done. You know what I mean? Because the run and his team in the playoffs, and he was like, man, this is whack. Well, he didn't use those words obviously, but he wasn't feeling it because that's how it was back then. You lost a player, and whatever how long he was out, that was how long he was truly going to be out.
Yeah.
That was one, some things back then, but also just leadership. And at first, it was just Cam. Then it was, I joined up, and then some of the, I guess, older guys in there. We kind of like filled in that leadership role. And then as the league gotten bigger and better, more people have gone to leadership. Now you got Mike Dash, he's head of the broadcasting team. You've got Nick Rochelle who do the stats. And everyone has their own little departments. Back then, it was just Cam. And then I jumped on to do all the hexing. So when it came all the hexing, it's like Mike O'Neill does it now.
Yeah.
I feel his pain because I was the same person doing that, many, many years ago.
Mm.
I remember he tired of making mistakes. I admit there was people I mean, I've heard in a long time. Obviously, back then people poke fun of me because there was, if I remember correctly, there was a player for Vancouver that had like 3 abilities on their player, and they weren't supposed to have it. And that was my mistake because I got to take it off of them.
It was mad.
When the brother worked 13, 14-hour shifts and then he got to go home and hex, all that stuff like hieroglyphics to me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like, I'm sitting there looking at all this stuff. Oh, dang, come on, can't use this thing about a certain time, and I'm tired as I don't know what, but hey, the work's got to get done.
Yeah. And people have to understand that, you're not a robot. You are a human. So
yeah, that's true.
Let's make mistakes.
Yeah, like we're robots, but yeah, we get burnt out too.
Indeed. So you are enshrined in the SFL Hall of Fame as a contributor. What does that recognition mean to you, and how does that reflect in the league?
Well, I was honored, and it was actually well deserved. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but there were times to where, hey, it was me hexing, and then it wasn't more just hexing, but it was also just Cam. Let's say Cam had some personal things going on. He would call me up. He knew I was up. At that time I lived in Maryland, but I lived in Maryland, but I had to work in Virginia, so I could be working at 3:00 in the morning. So it take about an hour and 15 minutes to drive, and so. Who's up is late? Who got to talk to? I got something on my mind. He called me up. And so that was, that was the close connection that we had at one point. But contributing is constantly, like I said, I was the owner. Then I became the league president. And just the dedication that I had with this league. And a lot of people don't know that. This is why, and I'm not trying to bring any bad things up or anything, because I forgave that person. I moved on. But it just popped back in my head just now is the fact that I think, and a part of that, you say people didn't know me. I think, it was a shot at me about 3-4 years ago to where someone said I did not deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And I was at first, I ain't gonna lie, it bothered me. I was like, well, who are you, little jabroni? What are you doing? And then when I found out who it was, I was like, man, what? I ain't got time for that. I let Cameron and I deal with the children. But the fact is that people, and I realized people did not know the history. They did not know those nights that I'm hexing, creating things for the league. They did not know that while I'm down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on vacation, I'm also got my Xbox and my laptop with me. I'm at my father-in-law's beach house. I'm in one of the rooms where everybody's asleep at 5 in the morning. So I wake up early in the morning anyway. So that's when I did it. I was like, okay, well, I would hex, make sure progressions were done. So there was no off time for me. When most people are like, oh, I'm taking a vacation, I'm out. I didn't have that luxury, and I didn't mind it because the league needed me. So I want to make sure it was done right. I didn't want anybody else to make any mistakes. I figure if it's going to be mistakes, the onus is going to be on me. And so that's how I look at it. So when I see someone, do something that's incorrect, I'm like, people looking at me sideways, like, nah, dude, that wasn't me, that was them. So I didn't want to have to deal with that situation. So that's why I was like, I'll take over. If I'm on vacation, I'll just wake up 4 or 5 in the morning and everybody was asleep. There was another situation too where I'm heading back to the beach. And if I remember correctly, there was an issue with London's kicker. And it had to be redone on the fly. Cam had a game that later on. So I'm like at the North Carolina, Virginia line border. I pull over a gas station, open up my laptop, use my cell phone as a hotspot, made the changes on my laptop, sent it to him using the cell phone signal, and then boom, pump my gas, got back in the car, and hit back to Maryland. And so that's why when that dude said that's all that was in my head is like, man, like what? Like you questioning, and he wasn't the only one, but there's other people like, they question my dedication. Like, hold on, dude, like you don't know the whole story. And I realized it afterwards, but in the heat of the moment, like, nah, man, it's like, nah, you don't know what I've done. You don't remember all the countless nights, the sacrifices, because I gave up my team. I was asked to. Because Cam needed help, so you don't know the entire story. If you to say some outlandish stuff like that, which that's his opinion, so it's like, okay, well, it is what it is. But once again, I've forgiven that person, and I kept it moving. Or those other people as well, I've forgiven those people, and I moved on, and that's that.
Yeah. Because it is about education, right? It is about, people do pop off real quick without necessarily knowing all the information that goes along with it or about that person, which is why I felt it was important for me to kind of bring, you on and other people that, kind of behind the scenes, but you're doing obviously well. We're going to talk about DC in a minute and the current undefeated streak you have going on, but I think that's important for people to just kind of either be exposed to who you are and just different people of the league, or people just to remember, because it's easy for you to get caught up in things that happen and you just forget all of the stuff that all of the contributions that you made, all the tireless nights that you had just to make sure somebody else's dream came true. It's not like you were just doing this for your own team. You were doing this for everybody else. And you were doing this manually.
That's right.
So
that's right. So, exactly, But like I said, those people didn't know. And it's something that, the last time I was on your show about 3 weeks ago, I believe, to where, when I was at the most recent convention, I hadn't been to convention since the very first one. That was 7 years ago. And then I kind of I haven't really been, I guess, out and about, because SFL, I pretty much operating within my team, and then I just focus on the guys and the coordinators on my team, and I'm really worried about anything else. So then when I went to the convention, it kind of threw me off because I was like, "What? You don't know? But you don't know who I am?" But not in an arrogant way. I was kind of like, "Come on now, this bald head man, this voice, you should know this raspy voice. You don't know who this is." But then I realized, oh snap! It's like I don't speak that much hardly anymore. I'm not on shows hardly. And so it was like, I need to, get myself back out there because people don't know who I am. And if you think about it, majority of owners aren't really vocal besides Eddie, the man on occasion. Michael is not an owner, but he thinks he's the owner of Chicago. But yeah, because he's the most vocal out of that group. But for the most part, majority of the owners are pretty much they stay to themselves. We don't engage in chat and gen chat, so it was like, they don't know us. They don't know us from the man on the moon.
You're right. You're right. And when people take the time out to look at the shows, and then when people go out into, like you just said, a lot of times, but I do think that just putting a little message out, hey, good morning, or just something, making yourself available for things, because you are available. And we're going to talk about like your contributions to uniforms and stadium creations and things like that of that nature too. But you're there. It's just people have to, like when I first came in the league, I talked to everybody. So if you were in the general chat, I made it a point to just speak to everybody and then have conversations, so that's how you remember. But you're on the right track, though.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Huh?
Your record is speaking for you right now. DC is currently undefeated, and I wanted to know, who do you feel will be your biggest challenge on your schedule?
We like to take each game, game by game. We trying to look forward. We know after Charleston we have Baltimore, so it's kind of like we're planning for them already, although we're not overlooking Charleston. And it's just that Baltimore is our rival. They're our heel on our side. It's like no matter what we do, it seems like they always got our number. Except for like 2 seasons ago, we beat them at home. But for the most part, they always have our number. They beat us last year by 3 points, and that was only because our running back got hurt. But you can't make excuses. But beside all that, is they're our Achilles heel, and so we take each game week by week. But like, I'm sorry. Go back to your question, please. My apologies.
Oh no, you're fine there. So it was. I just wanted to know who do you feel on your schedule will be your biggest challenge?
Well, yes, Baltimore. Well, like I said, definitely. And then looking down the line, I mean, we've got Vancouver, which I'm hoping we're both undefeated at time, so we can lay the smackdown on them. That's just it. That's just that. And I know right now they're probably watching, or we'll get back to Andy Hamilton and Brett Killian. Bald-headed bastard. He talking smack on Dashley's show, and it's like, it's all fun. It's this competition, and the thing is, the thing is, anytime you play against someone, you gotta speak into existence. You gotta say we're gonna win. I can't look at a team and be like, oh no, man, it's getting a little tough. No, we're gonna win. People know I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. That the DC Dragons, the whole thing is basically influenced by Bruce Lee. And one of his famous quotes was, "To tell you the truth, I can beat any man in the world." And that necessarily doesn't mean that it was true or not. Obviously, he never fought everybody in the world, but it's a mindset. And a lot of especially fighters, competitors have that mindset. And so I try to carry that into whatever I do. Either it's at work or it's either, in this case, I do SFL. So yeah, Charleston, we want to lay the smackdown. If it's by 3 points to 300, we want to do that. Baltimore, we want to beat them into the dirt. Vancouver, hope we're both undefeated. We beat the brakes off of them. That's just that. It's just that simple. It's nothing. It's just a mindset. That's all. Although you can't control it again. Although you can't control anything that's on the game, but it's just that's what it is. I bet you. They're saying the same thing about us. Oh, DC Dragons, man, Destro went in his mouth. Okay, we're going to show them what time it is. Same thing, but there's no hate between other teams. I have nothing but respect for those guys.
I know that's one of the catalysts about being here is the fact that you can prepare all day. You can see these sims run. You can win every sim that you see. But what happens on game day may not even show up in what you even tried. You know what I mean?
You got that right, because when we played, I don't even cut you off. When we played against Chicago, I wasn't expecting a soccer match or a baseball score 9-3. Like I've never seen a 9-3 score, and I don't think in APF, let alone this new, the 2K4. And I'm just like 9-3. It's like, well, I said in my locker room, I quoted Ben Diesel from the Fast and Furious. I said, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. We'll take it.
Damn straight. Win is a win all day long. It's why it's on Sunday, honey.
Because they're very hard to come by.
Indeed. So uniform and stadium creation seem to be your forte. People across the league, come to you for advice, come to you for help. I believe Arizona is one of them. So I want to know what inspires your creations, and can you talk a little bit about your process when you're creating these textures?
Okay, I try to be long-winded because I just did Samurai Sin Cities last night. They look pretty sharp. I might tweak them a little bit, but for the most part, they look pretty good. How I got started is, once again, just like Hexen, I had no formal training whatsoever in doing it. I never used Photoshop before. Well, I'll take that back. Tried in the past, but then I was like, Photoshop to me seemed it was a little complicated. So then one of the guys from 2K4 who did all the modding for the NFL gave me this Paint.net app, and then of course I did some digging. I found a guy who had a bunch of plugins for it that helped out tremendously. But I think for me, what motivated me to do uniform and be good at was the fact that I didn't want anybody else to do the uniforms for us. I wanted to do the uniforms. I felt that I can make the uniforms look sharp. I can make them look good. I think we have the best uniforms in the league. I think any uniform that's not done by me is not good. It's decent. But for me, you hook up with me, I will make sure you look good, successful on the field. And so that was my mindset. I want to do the uniforms by me because I didn't want anybody else to do them. That was it. Because I knew if no matter how well I translate or talk to them, in my mind, once again, that's a control freak in me. That's what I'm thinking. You're not going to get them. You're not going to do it right. You're not going to do it the way I need them to do. And so that's what motivated me. And of course, when we decided to switch over, I knew he was going to switch over. I had like a 6-month, I think, head start on everybody else. So I took advantage of teaching myself on how to do designs and logos. And then I have some websites I got bookmarked to where they have different like high school uniforms. Like I'll do a Google search, best high school uniforms in America, best college uniforms. Or I go on websites to where you can be able to order football gear, football pants. And so a lot of times I get ideas from there, and then I will tweak it and alter it and maybe change or maybe combine the two, or the situation may be. And I just think that I have a great eye at it. I just look at it and just, I go on the field. I don't just design a uniform and say, here you go, Ken, here's the files, keep it moving. No, I go on the game and look at it. I zoom every angle. I got to see how it looks. I run in sim mode. That's why I bet you a lot of people don't do that. That's why uniforms don't look good, because they don't run it in sim mode. I got to see how they look. How do the uniforms look when they're going from sideline to side, from goal line to goal line? And I got to make sure how's the logo look in the middle of the field? How does the stadium look? And I take that care not only for for my own stadium, but for anyone who has me do their uniforms. I do my best to make sure something, if something's not right, especially you paid me to do it. I need you to say, hey, Destro, this little suspect here. Can you help me out? Let's fix this. Okay, no problem. The other night, I did Birmingham's end zones, actually, a few months ago. And so I forgot to send them to Alex. I thought I did. And then here I am watching Alex running a sim game with Patriots end zones. And I'm like, that bothered me. I ain't going to lie. I was like, I said, that was going to be contacting me when I wake up tomorrow morning. Sure, and I woke up. There was a mention in the DMs. All right, and I saw his name. I already know what it was. I said, my bad, man. I said, I thought I had him in there. I thought it was Alex's fault first. When I looked into it, it was my fault. This is on me. So I said, okay, let's make sure. Let's send him and the man, Alex, these end zones, so we can set them up for success. Because, I tune in. I'll tune in on purpose and make sure all uniforms are good, make sure all your textures, make sure your stadium's on point. And so basically any team that I've designed uniforms for, I tune into your games. And I try to watch your games. If I've done your fans or your stadiums, I watch to see if, okay, are the uniforms right? Do they have the numbers captured? If not, let me know, and I'll fix them for you. It's no big deal. It's kind of hard sometimes with the fans because you got to it's random. It comes up randomly. And so when you do, you got to hurry up, pause the game real quick, hit the dump feature, unpause it, capture the image, and then you're able to alter it. But if it never comes up, man, you be here all day trying to trigger it. You go into situation mode, trying to score real quick, or go get a first down, or make a long pass play. Hope that you can trigger that event, that scene, to where the fan comes up, and I can say, okay, that's it. Boom, pause the game, hit the dump feature, unpause it, get that, snag that image, and then I'm able to go into the editor and enhance it and edit it. So there's a lot of work when it's uniforms, and depending on who it is, I think Samurai Stadium's better than mine. And I have no shame in saying that. Yeah, and I appreciate the compliment. It was Eddie said you killed it. I hooked this uniform. I hooked this stadium up and his uniforms, but also that's Sin City. Yeah, because I was looking at it, and what happened was I'm watching it, and I grew up on kung fu movies, but also like Japanese culture as well. And I grew up watching samurai movies from back in the 50s. And so I watched them. So what I did was I started watching samurai movies just because I was designing City's uniforms. And then I started studying about 15th century samurais and their thought processes. Matter of fact, there's a quote, Matsuda, I can't remember his last name, but that's what a T, I think. I can't pronounce it. But basically, if you go in their stadium, you'll see that quote in the stadium. And I got that. He's a 15th, 16th century samurai. And I saw that quote. And it was all about, like, when you go into battle or living your life, you have to always think about death, preparing to death. It's kind of like what the scriptures talk about, about always preparing for your death and not worried, don't living out to just be living. You always be prepared for death. So kind of line with the scriptures, along with this 15th century samurai was speaking. I put that quote right in their stadium. You'll see it if you ever go in there and look. And so,
all right, Easter eggs.
And so what I did from that point was I looked at Japanese images. They call if I pronounce it right, goshi, I can't remember. No, not geisha. That's something different. But goshi, I can't remember what it was. Basically, it's a Japanese door. So if you look at the top of their stadium, you'll see that design all across the stadium, and then custom made light poles for the stadium lights. Those are images I created. Dope. And then you got the little image of the samurais, different types. I went on Google search, and I found some images of samurais from back in the day, and I put them all around the wall. And then that one, their end zones, I found that. I was like, man, that looks nice. I got to use that. And I said, let me see if I can make it work and see if it's stretched. Because sometimes you get an image and you stretch it, you lose the quality.
Yes.
That quality was high definition. I lucked out, put that bad boy, added Sin City samurai in the middle of that mob. I was like, yeah, that's on point. I know it's going to be on point.
They got what they paid for, huh?
That's right. And then, Arizona, the same thing. I mean, I took the Sting, the wrestler, I took him. I took his logo of the Scorpion, redesigned it, and I put that on the doors along the stadium. Also, that one set that you have with the glow, then on the hips that's the logo of Sting when he was wrestling in AEW.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, So I just stare at it. It don't matter what team it is. And I apologize, y'all, for being long-winded. I'm passionate about this stuff. I'll sit there, depending on what the theme is, and I'll sit there and stare at it. I don't just slap stuff on the screen. Oh, here you go, Cam. No, I'll sit there and stare at it. I'll look at it. I'll do some searching, Google searching, and then like I said, best high school in the country, best college in the country. It could be a last night looking at a high school in Kentucky. I was checking out their uniforms. Just give me ideas on what to do for the next thing. And then sometimes I'll just stare at something and be like, okay, let me do this, or I have a little theme from a movie and I'll put that in there. Atlanta's when they were in the league, I gave that half leg. I don't know if you remember that one. It was a half a leg where it had the big wash on the side, and then had a little stripe on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
I got it off a website. It was a little different, but I altered it to where it wasn't a complete copycat. But it all depends on what theme you got. Houston, he's like my the one to where I test my stuff on. So he wanted the Navy uniforms, and so I was okay. So I don't know, except for that helmet. That helmet is impossible to pull off with the texture layout of this game. Everything else, I got spot on. Added a little red tilt color, the same red to his from his team. Added in there,
Mhm.
and it's on point. So that's the main thing. Not to repeat myself, but that's what I do. I just go in, whatever theme you got, whatever your concept is, I'll just start brainstorming. What can I do? And then, like I said, with Sin City, I went down with that pathway. I started reading about 15th century samurais.
Well, I will say that anybody that watches this show and listens to this interview, they should definitely be appreciative of all of the work and all the detail, the attention to detail that you try to incorporate, because I had no idea that you were that detailed. I mean, of course, from what I see for what you did for us, but hearing about how you changed Sin City Stadium and how you actually research things and you take your job very seriously. So I think that that's commendable. And I do understand why you are in the Hall of Fame for your contributions, because when you go in, you go all in, and it's not something that you half-ass about. So I, for one, appreciate that because you lead by example, and um, I like it. I do got one. I have one more question for you, and then that's it. We can end it.
All right, thank you.
Um,
Appreciate you.
yeah, anytime. Name one. Well, no, most rewarding moment in the SFL history for you thus far. What's the most rewarding moment for you in SFL history so far?
Oh man, well the biggest one that pops up in my head is the season 5 championship,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because it's the first season. You're trying to fill things out. Although in the back of your head, I know Ramos taking the same thing. We played in CAG TJ's league. We got the one up on everybody else. I mean, that's always my mindset. So I was like, okay, we're going to try something different. And there's no surprise. It's no surprise that him and I had bronze quarterbacks in for our teams because we know the game and it's
Yeah.
okay. And in case of my team, I wanted the guys hand the ball off anyway. I ain't want him to pass a lot anyway. He wound up passing anyway a lot in that championship game. He was 38 for 51 for 351 yards, no interceptions. I still remember that stat, by the way. But the fact is that it was the way it was won because first of all we relied on, if I remember, it was Orlando and somebody else had to win in order for us to get in. So we snuck in the playoffs to begin with. Back then, when we played 8 games, I think we were 5-3. We were 5-3. So we had to sneak in anyway. Then we played all 3 of our games on the road, and we beat Queen City, which I knew he was going. Well, the New York Knights back then, and so I knew that we was going to beat them. I guarantee that in my head. Louisville was the one to where I was like, well, I don't know. That was the one to where I really did not know. I was like, I don't think we're going to win this one, but you know what? Let me start putting in some plays I normally wouldn't put in. And one of my favorite plays, running plays, being a Redskin fan, going up to counter Trey. And so I never ran that play at all because it seemed like it never worked. So you know what? We're going to lose this game anyway. Let's go ahead and put it in. And then all of a sudden, like I said, we were playing like crap 3.5 quarters, and all of a sudden, Rich Stoughton just took off, started running counter Trey, was running all over Louisville, and we were on the road. And they were supposed to win. We beat them. Then the championship game, I just like, yeah, that's why I tell people, I was like, I know it was where we moved on to a different game, but if you ever got time, if you're doing something in the background, just play that game, especially the fourth quarter. And it was just poetry in motion. Even if we would have lost that game, I would still say the same thing. But the fact is the sequence on that last drive, the sequence that happened, the fact is that we did a shovel pass and there was no shovel pass in our playbook. And what happened, yes. And what happened was, and what happens is it was actually a slant. It was a 90 XA slant, I believe. It was to the tight end. But the issue is that normally he takes a step back and then looks and then throws. But he took a step back and threw it so fast that the tight end barely got off the line of scrimmage. So instead of him making a throwing motion, he made a shovel pass motion. And the tight end happened to be right there because he just got off the line of scrimmage. He caught it and then went down the field for about 5-6 yards. That's why you hear Cam saying, he shoveled it, because I've yet, and I don't know disrespect to Cam or anybody else, but I've never heard Cam be more excited about a game than that. My wife sometimes she'll poke fun at Cam now and then during the Louisville game, she'll say the line he goes when Richard Stone was running all over the place. He says the line, "Get that man a statue, unbelievable." And my wife to this day, 10 years later, still mocks Cam about get that Destro all the way. She does that. So,
that's dope.
Yeah, because I kept playing it over and over. She would hear me, "What's going on? Why keep playing that same scene?" I was like, Cam, boy, he was just so excited, and it helped the fact that he had 3 other people at his house at the time. We didn't have Discord back then. You couldn't just join together and commentate all the world. It was you got to be at Cam's house at his small $5 desk that he had, and and that was it. It was Greg Quirky, it was Demond, and it was I can't remember his last name, Mike. I forgot he came from a Madden league. Can't remember his last name right now, but yeah, it was all 4 of them, and yeah, that whole sequence, that last drive, the craziness. Then Revin was another creative player to her all year long. He only had 11 catches, like the entire season. All of a sudden, it was like we kept just throwing little slants at him, and boom, boom, nickel and dime. He played his butt off that game, and then the fact that the last play, because what happened was, if I remember, Zui guy tackled or sack, excuse me, and then the next play we do a slant to Revin, and it was 4th down. It was short, but it was a offside penalty on him. So we had to accept, because if we don't accept, it's turnover on downs. The game's over. We lose. But then we accepted. So now the ball's like 4th and a half a yard. So then all of a sudden, it was a quick out. It was an out route because in the slot, Richard Snowden, he's a running back. He was lined up in the slot. He did an out route. We threw it to him, got the 1st down, called a timeout. And as you know, that very next, the infamous play. And I encourage everyone to go back and watch it. And keep in mind, we were under a color system back then. We had gold, silver, and bronze. Ramos had 2 gold silver. Oh, so 2 gold safeties, and I knew that in that game. And most of my plays were all like kind of a West Coast style, a lot of short dumps, because I did not want to throw an interception. I took all the fades out, so I knew he had those 2 gold safeties. I did not want him to pick the ball off. Next thing you know, Zuli caught back, took a step or 2 back, threw the ball to the side. Corky catches it, and one of those gold safeties grabs him. I'm thinking, that's game. Oh, no, let me back up. Let me back up because I'm skipping myself. Because when all this was happening, I've got to mention, when all this was happening, I didn't see it in real time. And my internet went out. I lived in rural Pennsylvania at the time. My internet went out at the beginning of that first play. Everything I'm telling you is I had to go back. After the game was over, I had to go watch it. And so next thing you know, thank you. Someone in the chat said Mike Peters. Okay, that was the last name. So I did not witness all that in real time. But I saw the very first play of that drive, my internet went out. I went and knocked over on the neighbor's door. I said, "Internet fine? Internet's fine." Other next door neighbor, "It's fine." I'm like, well, how come mine's not fine? What's going on? I had to put it on my Xbox One on the TV. I had it on my laptop and on my phone. Why all 3 are out? I don't know what happened. Next thing you know, I'm reading the chat. I hear this. "Oh my God. Oh, I can't believe it." And I'm like, my heart racing, like, man, what's going on? Man, what's going on? I'm like, man, I'm thinking, man, please hope we don't lose. Man, I'm sitting there like, man, I was getting a little watery, man. My parents won't cry because we lose. I'm sitting there like, man, I sat on the couch like this, like, man, I came back on that mug. And you know, I see the replay. And I was like, what? And that's what happened. He threw that pass to Quirky, and one of the Santa Fe safeties, Mexico City now, he grabs Quirky. But Quirky's a big receiver, so he shakes them all and runs to the end zone with 15 seconds left in the game. And I did not see it in real time.
That's crazy. You probably would have passed out if you saw it in real time. You didn't need to see it.
Yeah, and the apartment, I know I was yelling. I know people next door heard me. One lady knocked on the door. "Everything okay, Jermaine?" "Yeah, I'm good, man. I just want a game, man." Because, our walls are, how apartments are. Walls are thin like a mug. So it was an old building, too. an old hotel renovated into apartments and stuff, and so the walls are very thin. And they heard me, but I was like, you know what? It's either time. Y'all don't have to take this L. I'm yelling. I was excited. So I would say that was probably the greatest moment.
Awesome.
But thing is, it's like it's been September will be 10 years,
Man.
and it's kind of like forgotten. I kind of like purposely forgot about it. On my username, I don't have. There are other people who won their championship. They have trophies beside their username.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do it. And the reason why, because I just like that was in the past. We're in a new era. Even when I came back, when we still ran APF, I didn't put it on there because the new guys, they don't know anything about that. And so it's kind of like, I want to start something new. And this is why when it came back season 16, this is where I had to turn to Nick Fury. I got the Avengers together. And this is where I was contacting Monex. And this is where I said, I know people coming after you, but I need you. And he's like, I'm on board. I was like, there won't be much interference. And it's very hard for me because you got to understand, when it's your own team, like I said, and what I had to learn, this is from being a general manager, working in restaurants, is you can't do it all by yourself as much as you may think you can. You can't be there 24 at the job 24/7. You'll have a heart attack. You'll fall out. I've done it, working 80 hours a week, 24 days in a row straight. I've done it. And so you realize that you gotta let go and understand that, hey, you need help, and you gotta let people take control. Don't micromanage. I think it's one of the mistakes that I made. One of the mistakes I made with Chisholm was back in season 7 was I was so paranoid about losing, but he needed to learn. And that was one of the mistakes that I still think about. I regret the fact that I didn't allow him to progress. I didn't allow him to learn. I took over the reins real quick, which I shouldn't have done. And so, that's one of my mistakes, one of my regrets of being an owner is I pulled that from him when he should have been. I said, just let him do his thing. He learns and we'll be better. And then that was before I knew I was going to be moving to a new team anyway. But eventually he got his own team. I think the season 2 later, and he won a championship. So, it was all good. But yeah, it's, and I don't know any of the questions you have for me, not to ramble on. I'm going all night, but, this is where I give a shout out to, to not Monex, James Walters. I can't do all this. I want to make this known because I don't do a lot of interviews. I want to make sure those guys get credit. The reason why we're 4-0 is because of them, not me. Okay, I just make sure the team looks the best on the field with the best uniforms, the best midfield logo, and the best end zones, the best of my ability. That's pretty much my goal, and then I'll help with Sims and make sure those guys put in work. We would not be 4-0 if I was still defensive coordinator. The other night when Monex was on, I think it was Eddie's show, and I can't remember what he said, but I typed it in there. I said, no offense, because I was I'm so APF. I'm into APF that when it comes to this game, it's kind of like, well, I made a mistake by not learning the game. So then here it is, like, damn, I gotta learn this game, and here we are struggling on defense last year. That's why when I heard when Nashville was, folded, I was like, I'm getting James Walters. He's coming back. And my mindset was I'm getting him back because out of all the teams, I thought that first of all, he lives in Montgomery County, Maryland. So he lives near my hometown. DC is his area because it's right outside DC. I need him to come back, and he will come back. And I appreciate that he did decide to come back. So I'm thankful for Monex. I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for all guys who scout. I'm thankful for the players who put in that work to progress. Like Monex said on Eddie's show, they were, most of our players were down with us when we were 3-9, and then they were 10 when we were 10-2, 2 or 3 seasons ago. Majority of 75% of them are the same players, and so and I appreciate that because some players, I'm not gonna say who they skip, like this team, that team, that team. I mean, they're like Robert Ory, So I just want to make sure I say that because I know that sometimes I slip up and I say I and I say my, and I need to get better at that because it's not I had the best uniforms. We had the best uniforms. we have the best team, and we take each game at a time. And do you want to be undefeated? Yes, but you come undefeated, then you have pressure from that point. You got to win it all from that point. So,
Indeed.
and we're still
You
learning.
know,
We're still tweaking and stuff. And so we're gonna, like I said, one week at a time. My bad. I'm finished talking. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. You're fine. That's why I had you on the show. First of all, when I have certain individuals like you on the show, I already know that it just needs to be you. This is why it's just me and you, because I knew that when you explain things, you're going to be thorough with your answers. I don't have a
Right.
problem with that, you know,
Right. And
because
my
I
guys
think
know. My bad. I didn't cut you off. My guys
Mhm.
know. I put my phone number in there. I said, "This is my number." And this is this. Let's get real serious for a moment. Is that there's a lot of stuff going on in this world, and a lot of us, this is it. This is the only outlet we have. Some of us don't have
Yeah.
friends. I'll keep it a buck with you. I guys I grew up with, they ain't around anymore for various reasons. And there's no need to go there, but it's what can you do? You work 10, 12 hours a day. You come home, spend time with your wife, and then it's like, well, what's next? Say, well, this is the people you talk to. And it's like this is kind of like my outlet. This is my hobby. And so, but back to what I was saying is that you got people who are going through some hard times, either
Yes.
financial, and you got some, and that's why I say part of being an owner, it's more than just being an owner. It's all about sometimes you gotta be a counselor. Sometimes you gotta talk someone off a ledge. I know there's been owners, and I ain't gonna say which ones who had to talk people off ledges. And
Indeed.
so the thing is like I tell people, I said, look, I tell the guys, this is my phone number. I said, I do not care what time it is. I said, I'm going to sleep about 4 hours, 5 hours a night anyway. I say, just give me a call. I said, I'd rather you call me and allow me to talk you off that ledge than something happened. Because knowing me, how my mindset is, although it may not be my fault, I'm gonna
Take it that way.
take it that way. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just same way my employees tell them the same thing, same exact thing at work, same exact thing. Just if something's going on, I know you're not supposed to get personal, you're supposed to keep things, business and personal, but I'd rather see you make it another day than let you know you done did something and you're no longer here. I'm not trying to be a
Well,
downer, but I want people to understand that
no.
that there's owners out here. I can't speak for all, but I know a few. I know a handful. I know if you call, I know Eddie, I know Sim, when Chisholm was an owner. I know there's other owners that I know they'll answer the phone and you someone to talk to, something bad going on. I think they'll take the time. I'll put my hand on the Bible and say, honestly believe that they will take the time to talk you off that ledge.
They will. Definitely. Definitely. And that's the beauty of, the unusualness of this league itself, because anytime you're doing something online, it's a risk because you don't know who you're really talking to, who these people really represent, what their underlining cause is. But here it's just not like that. You can actually have conversations, and you can trust people, that you're cool with personal things. You can trust them to help you through situations. And the crazy thing about it is that we probably would have never met in any other aspect unless we were here. So everything happens for a reason. We're all here in this moment for a reason. We all have and we do what we do for a reason. And I'm just appreciative of having this outlet because, like you're saying, this is all that I do. I go to work. I don't have a man right now. I come home,
Why
take care of
not?
the
I'm
children.
just messing with you. Go ahead.
Oh,
I'm just messing with you.
well, that's a whole nother story, honey. That we're gonna be here another hour. But um, and I just go home and I take care of my children and I go to work and I
Repeat.
don't do anything else except hang out here. So, and I don't mind that because it keeps me safe. I want to do a few chat shouts before we go. Goosebusters, much appreciation for the rep of the miners. Yeah, definitely wanted to get them in because I think people need to know who's doing well in the minors, and not everybody is tuned in to the minors for whatever reason. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew what was going on. As if name was Mike Peters, he also says, this is what I really wanted to announce. Destro is the perfect owner. He is an experienced people person, great sounding board, and an awesome friend. All right. And I think that's Shabazz Synergy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So
I figured it out. I
Shabazz,
was like, as if I was like, I've seen that before. It took me a while. I was okay. That's it. Yeah, that's his little channel.
yes,
And
he
him
actually
and his friend to discuss things. Yeah.
yeah, he actually did my theme song. Thank you, Shabazz. I appreciate it since you're in the chat. Thank you so much, honey. um Kano Forson says, so glad that they do what they do because he couldn't. Also, how many sets of uniforms, before I let you go, do you have for DC?
This season 18, but I say all together that I created about 32, 33. I got uniforms that I've never put out. I got uniforms that I use when I was experimenting when we had the blue face mask. It's not even our colors, but I figured I'd try it because we're imported over the Detroit Lions. So I was trying to do a little something, mix up a little bit. I'm like, I'm not feeling that blue. It's not our colors. We're a dark teal. We're not blue. So that was that. So I put those to rest, but I got them on a file somewhere. I usually put them aside in case someone may need them, and I'll pull a design out and I'll pull them aside. But yeah, about 32, 33 uniforms. Something like that. Yeah.
That's crazy. Ask him about his time living with the Amish.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about, back in 2013, 12 years ago, I moved from my hometown in Maryland. I took a job at Shippensburg University. And so I was looking for an apartment. And so I saw an ad in the paper. It said apartment for keep in mind, this is 2013. It was $285 a month. And I thought it was a scam. And it's actually a lady who I was dating at the time. Actually, she was helping me move up in that area. And so we just broke up, but she was still helping me out. And so she gave me the ad, and I looked at it. I was like, this got to be a scam. So I called and talked to him. I said, yeah, come on up. And I went out in the cut, way up in Pennsylvania. We went too far, but it was in the cut. And so I went out there, and I was like, it was like I said earlier, it was a renovated hotel or motel back in the day, and they partitioned it to where it had different apartments. So I went in there and had a little bathroom. It was shower only. It was me by myself. I had bedroom. Then I had a big kitchen. It was a huge kitchen. It had a little bit of space on the side, like maybe 10 by 10, to where I converted to a living room. And I was like, this is nice. This is $285. I said, you know what? This beat this Maryland rent, because back then you're paying like $1,200, $1,300. And so I'm like, wow, this is a lot different. But then I kept saying to myself, if you don't have internet, I can't help you, because I had T-Mobile, and I had no signal out there. That's how on the cut you were.
Woof.
And you're right near the Appalachian Mountains. So it was like, I said, there's no internet. I said, my last question, ma'am, please tell me. I said, ma'am, sir, please tell me that you got internet. Oh, yeah, sure, we got this. And I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. Because with T-Mobile, you're able to use your Wi-Fi as a signal. Without that, you're done. You can't do anything. And so I went and got a house phone. It was part of the pack. I had a house phone as well with it, but it was just like, I can't be out here in the cut. I gotta get back to my hometown an hour. It's like, and no one can communicate with me unless I have internet. So yeah, that's Amish country. Yeah, where all of a sudden on New Year's Eve you hear shotguns going off, and you coming from a little city. You thinking, you know what I mean?
See, yeah, I know, man.
This and that. But I tell you what, the Amish people out in that area, I tell you, it was nice and peace. They're one of the friendliest people that you'll ever meet. I go into their stores. The meat markets. They had those. They're very nice, friendly. I couldn't. It was just like it was different being in Maryland. You're in the city, and people have, especially go around Baltimore and DC, Northern Virginia. They got that little smug attitude, and it's like, okay. And so when you go to out in the Amish country, you know, you kind of still have that guard up from how people are, but then you immediately learn you got to put that down because these people are nice, they're friendly, they're speaking to you, and they welcomed me, the landlords, and I mean the neighbors, they were cool. Like I said, I was like, yeah, that's that Amish thing. Yeah, that's where he met because I was up there with the Amish. But yeah, those other guys there weren't Amish. They was up there, and like I said, they came to New Year's Eve, boy. Those shotguns came out, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And you know, like I said, brother was looking, you know, what's going on, you know? And then landlord had to tell me, he goes, yeah, that's what we do up here, buddy. You know, we you know. And I was okay. I said, all right, I'll learn for next year.
Okay.
You know, brother was about to dive under the couch. I mean, yeah, under the couch and under the bed, big as I am. Shoot.
I know that's right, shit. It's better to be safe than be sorry, shit. I feel that. But it was a pleasure hanging out with you, Jermaine. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I know we are at almost an hour and 30 minutes, and I really appreciate this time. I really appreciate you giving us some insight to who you are. And of course, you're welcome to come back anytime you want to. Maybe towards, I don't know if you want to do towards the end of the season, see where you guys are, see if y'all still undefeated. You know.
As long as we get to the playoffs, that's the goal right now. That one, like I said,
Indeed.
1 week at a time. That's it. 1 week at a time.
I love it, man. Thank you, Jermaine. I appreciate you, love.
My pleasure. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you for joining us this evening. I really hope that you enjoyed the show. Looking forward to bringing you another great podcast next week, y'all. But until then, y'all stay safe, treat each other well. For Lord Destro, Striker, we are out. Put your goodbyes in the chat. Be happy praying for you, all right? Have a good night.
Piece of me, piece of my, took some time. I'm just reaping what I saw for sure, brand new heart. That's just for me and my boy. Keep secure, 4x4. G6 sleep off on my hands. I'm no friend. Pay for keys and paper saving me. In the back when the windows tint. Yeah, cause they know too much. Yeah, they know too much. Tryna come take from me. And my 40 they don't move. They ain't even thought this far. This ain't never crossed your way. Yeah, just like I know. Made room for you. You got me off for thought. You had no place to trust. Just like you told. Just like we roll. Now we would barely trust. Now there's no saving us. Piece of me, piece of my, took some time. I'm just reaping what I saw for sure. Brand new heart, that's just for me and my bro. Keep secure, 4x4. G6 sleep up on my hands. I'm no friend. Play for keys, can't pay for 10.